The following is a presentation sponsored by Cloverly Academy. Let's dive into the novel A Horse in the Castle by Annie M. Wyatt.
My name is Annie Wyatt, and I am the author and illustrator of A Horse in the Castle. It is about the day in the life of a horse. So what does that look like for this queen horse? It's about when she wakes up in the morning, what is a meal like? What does she eat? What is her daily activity, such as playing in fields of wildflowers? It illuminates her tacking up and getting ready for horseback riding, and then ends with really sharing the story and the highlight of her day of a child riding her. The inspiration behind A Horse in the Castle came from my first book, All Kinds of Castles. It's about a little boy that lives in the city, and he comes out to the country and he sees turtles' shells are their castles, horses' barns are their castles, lobsters have castles. And I think children really fell in love with the horse in this book. So the inspiration for this book was to really take the horse's story and a day in her life and expand it. This book is written for children, probably 2 to 5 years old. The pictures are very simple. They're black and white photos with some light watercolors, so it's easy for children to see, especially in darker, dimmer rooms at night. The book is also written in rhyming verse, which is really important for children that are 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, learning to read or learning to write. Rhyming verse is statistically proven to really help children in that regard. My mission for A Horse in the Castle is to bring more attention to horses, how gentle they are. They're beautiful, majestic, massive animals, but they're really kind, really gentle, and very approachable. It's also to bring awareness to a wonderful organization here in Charlotte, North Carolina, called Mighty Riders. It helps children with mental and physical disabilities ride horses for free, which is incredible.
Scan the QR code now to purchase A Horse in the Castle by Annie M. Wyatt. Today I am joined by Johnny London, author of Heaven's Rewrite. Let's dive into the novel, Heaven's Rewrite.
Hi, my name is Johnny London, and I'm the author of Heaven's Rewrite. It's a story about love, regret, and the possibility of second chances. It's an action romance thriller that follows the course of a relationship between Lee and Karis, and it takes them through the ups and downs, and through a little divine intervention, gets them to a place where life works out pretty good. Inspiration behind Heaven's Rewrite is I think all of us at one time or another have said, man, I wish I could redo that meeting, or I heard myself saying something when I was fighting with my partner, and I wish I could take it back and just redo it. And I think we've all been there. And most people who I've heard say that, they say it in the middle of a relationship, you can't take things back. And the idea was if we could redo or replay a relationship and make things right, how would that go? And the inspiration is just trying to answer those questions and just try to, if nothing else, give people hope. Maybe sometimes our second answer is better than our first answer, or our second thoughts are better than our first thoughts. And it's that kind of an idea that was the inspiration behind putting the story together. You know, it's interesting. This Heaven's Rewrite was written initially as an action romance novel, and I wrote it, with the female romance reader in mind. I got a couple text messages from a few good friends of mine, guys I went to college with, played football with, who's like, dude, I'm so happy to tell you that I read it and I don't have to lie to you that I actually liked it. And I even got a few clues about how to be better with my wife or how to do this or do that. Now, it's by no means a self-help book, but at the same time, though, it shows real life scenarios, real life things that happen. And we see it the first time, and then we see it when he gets to replay it the second time. And I think that contrast maybe could also, I'm no psychologist by any stretch of the imagination, but on the flip side, I've screwed up enough relationships where I think now I know the difference, and maybe somebody could read it, have some fun, dive into the time travel piece of this, but also maybe take something away from it. I think it could be a great read for anybody that's just looking to disappear into a book for a few hours at a time. My mission for Heaven's Rewrite, I think the best way to sum it up is my brand is I'm in the hope business. I think that there's hope for love, for redemption, for overcoming regret, coming together with somebody. And if I can provide that hope, listen, I'm a sucker for happy endings. I love happy endings. One of my all-time favorite movies is Rocky, and he lost the fight, But does anybody walk away from that movie knowing he lost? No. It's that hope piece that comes through that I really love to put on paper, and hopefully people come away with the same emotions I'm getting just even thinking about it.
Scan the QR code here to purchase Johnny London's novel, Heaven's Rewrite, today.
Are you ready to bring your book to life? At Cloverly Publishing, we make it easy to turn your vision into reality. Whether it's print, ebooks, or audiobooks, our high-end specialty publishing houses are here to guide you every step of the way. We're the trusted partner for first-time and independent authors, giving you full control of the entire process while working side by side with our literary assistants. Best of all, you retain 100% ownership of your book and all content created on your behalf. Your story deserves to be told. Let's make it happen.
Today, I am joined by Bethany Rosa, author of Dangerous Pursuit. Let's dive into Dangerous Pursuit. Thanks for joining us today, Bethany.
All right. So, hi, I'm Bethany Rosa, and I'm the author of Dangerous Pursuit. That is book 2 in the Pursuit series. Dangerous Pursuit is basically about the third wheel in the love triangle on book 1, Pursuit of Innocence. So, this is his happy ever after. We tell his story, and it is an age gap workplace romance. Basically, he runs the family business. He's forced to take on this much younger, but very capable personal assistant, temporary, that he doesn't think is capable. However, he does finally fall first, and once he does and starts to make progress, some shady things that she's involved in start to stand in the way, and their story goes from there. So my inspiration for Dangerous Pursuit is obviously, number one, to give my readers the Jackson story and how he finds his happy ever after. But in all my books, my inspiration is to inspire passion. And that is something I'm really good at. I want to give people something happy, something that makes them forget their everyday lives, and that is my ultimate goal in all of my books. This book is written for anybody who loves age gap, steamy romances. However, I will say it has been received really well by people who generally don't love that age gap trope. So if that's not something the general public would like, that's okay, because it's written soft enough that it appeals to those people as well. Basically, it's for people who love a good, steamy romance. It's a quick read. It makes you happy. It definitely has that happy ever after. If somebody's interested in a little poker, it has a huge element of that. So that kind of adds some fun to it. And it's very spicy. And if they like dirty talking main male characters, it has plenty. So my mission with Dangerous Pursuit is obviously to keep building my brand, build upon the world that I started in book 1, expand the family, and just keep those characters moving to the next character and the next character. And my mission is always to do a better book than the last. I think I've done that. And then this one will lead into the next one as well. And so you will have this whole world of characters. And in each book, I will have something to give you in that book. So this one happens to be age gap workplace. Each book will have just a little bit something different so everybody can find something they love.
Scan the QR code here to purchase Bethany Rosa's novel, Dangerous Pursuit, today.
There's a better way to bring your book to life. At Cloverly Publishing, we specialize in empowering first-time and independent authors. From print to ebooks to audiobooks, we make your vision a reality. Cloverly Publishing, your story, your way.
Days Evander is a storyteller known for her fictional, character-driven series focused on otherworldly survival and discovery.
So my name is Daisy Vander. I'm a fantasy sci-fi indie author. And I debuted in 2020 with my first book, Carriers of Eunoia. And so The Shadow of Saltcrest is actually my upcoming title. It comes out December 1st, and it's a spin-off of my trilogy that begins a new story. So it's a post-apocalyptic sci-fi fantasy story about a group of 6 main characters that are trying to find a magical key before time runs out to save the city. There's a lot of inspiration behind The Shadow of Saltcrest, But I would say that the biggest inspiration is a huge amount of video games that I've played over the years, especially the video game Fallout. I really love playing games, and my favorites are open world story driven games. And so I took a lot of inspiration in the world building and the weapons and what the characters face from a lot of different games that I've played. And I wanted to bring that also into the book world and explore that. So I would definitely say video games are probably my biggest inspiration for this title. So The Shadow of Saltcrest is written for those who are looking for a new adventure to embark on, a new series to get invested in, as I have rotating character speakers for each chapter. So for those who really enjoy rotating points of view in stories, hearing from multiple different people, and those that also really enjoy like this wasteland, post-apocalyptic dystopian type of survival stories and otherworldly discoveries. So there's mutants, magic, different spells, and so those that are just looking for a new journey to go on, I would say that the story is really for them. My mission with The Shadow of Saltcrest is to ultimately share Ezekiel's story. He's the character standout on the front cover, and he's a character I created in 2015. So I've had him in the back of my mind for a long time, and his story it was really interesting and exciting to get to now share what he goes through, and hopefully his story will resonate with people, and they might be able to see some of themselves in him or some of the other characters. But my ultimate mission is really just to bring this new countdown story to the world, and started a whole new universe that people can join, and a safe place for anybody to come escape reality. So ultimately my mission was to start this whole new series of escaping reality, and mostly bringing Ezekiel's story to life.
Scan the QR code here to purchase Days Evander's novel, The Shadow of Saltcrest, today.
There's a better way to bring your book to life. At Cloverly Publishing, we specialize in empowering first-time and independent authors. From print to ebooks to audiobooks, we make your vision a reality. Cloverly Publishing, your story, your way.
Today, I am joined by John Van Dyke, author of Boom. Let's dive into the novel Boom by John Van Dyke.
My name is John Van Dyke, and my book is Boom. It's a big country for an old man. And the book was inspired by a project I started in 2017. I needed to kind of discover my country, the things that were happening, and everything's political today, but then it was sort of a new thing, and the divisiveness and the polarization. So I went around the country, and I had over 130 conversations in 34 states with people all ages, 18 to 60. I'd find them in coffee shops. I'd find them in hotels, on the street, college campuses. So that was the basis for the book. And the book is basically, maybe it's the Great American Road Trip revisited. I take people along with me. It's not really a memoir, but it's more like just I'm sharing my observations, and I'm kind of ping-ponging around a little bit, different places. I'd fly in, rent a car, drive for maybe 2 weeks, sometimes 6 days, kind of in a loop, small towns, back roads, sort of a slice of America. Mostly the working people, the working class, not the big cities, not the C-suites, but just the people a little more on the ground. So that's basically what the book is about. The inspiration behind Boom was really several people told me, John, you should write a book about what you've done, because I had filmed and recorded everything on video. And at one point, and it may still be, there's documentary material, but the inspiration was really, people prompted me. And then a very good friend, this was in the days of COVID, it said, he discovered writing as therapy. And so I started writing. And the next thing you know is this book started to happen. So that's basically the basis for the book. The book is written for maybe anybody and everybody. For sure, I think it probably there's maybe an older audience. I mean, there's, the title Boom. Maybe part of that is boom as in boomer. The thing I found is that we're a very divided country today, but we have a generational thing going. And there's a lot of boomers aging out. So I would say it's for anybody. Basically, anybody who wants a little information about the country, that wants to explore, has a curiosity. The mission is to help people understand that it's really kind of cool if we start talking to each other, that we go out and meet people that we don't know, that we actually sit down, have a conversation. We're doing a conversation right now the way most people are doing conversations or getting information, but it's kind of an old idea that you actually sit down and one-on-one talk to somebody, and a stranger. I think that's the important thing. Communicate and listen.
Scan the QR code here to purchase John Van Dyke's novel, Boom, today. Let's dive into the novel, Lord Fenmore's Wager, by Alyssa Baxter.
Hello, I'm Alyssa Baxter, the author of Lord Fenmore's Wager, a Regency romance. The inspiration behind Lord Fenmore's Wager was actually a real-life story. When I was younger, I went to work in England as a nanny, and I got a job working for a lady. She actually had a title. And I lived in a gatehouse on a country estate, and it was actually a shooting estate. And I was allowed to go and walk on the grounds, and I was actually looking after 2 children at the time, and that's when I got the idea to write a book about it. This book is written for readers who enjoy the more traditional type of Regency romance, more in the style of Georgette Heyer and Jane Austen, rather than the more steamy Bridgerton-style books. So if you like proper romance, closed-door romance, this is the book for you. My mission with Lord Fenmore's Wager was really just to entertain my readers. I enjoy writing books that have a lot of humor, anything that can make me smile. And it was a fun, light-hearted story, and it doesn't take itself too seriously. It's more of a drawing room drama than anything else, and it's set in the countryside and in Bath, in England.
Scan the QR code here to purchase Alyssa Baxter's novel, Lord Fenmore's Wager, today.
Are you ready to bring your book to life? At Cloverly Publishing, we make it easy to turn your vision into reality. Whether it's print, ebooks, or audiobooks, our high-end specialty publishing houses are here to guide you every step of the way. We're the trusted partner for first-time and independent authors, giving you full control of the entire process while working side by side with our literary assistants. Best of all, you retain 100% ownership of your book and all content created on your behalf. Your story deserves to be told. Let's make it happen.
Today I'm joined by Ken McGorry, author of Ghost Hampton. Let's dive into the novel, Ghost Hampton, by Ken McGorry.
Hello, my name is Ken McGorry, and I'm the author of Ghost Hampton, among other things, but that's what I'm known for. Would you like to know the inspiration behind Ghost Hampton? Well, it's a little bit of a story. I had written a long book that is kind of fun. I'd like to get it out, but I was on a ride in West Hampton with my wife in our car. She's in the real estate business. We passed a house in a nice section of West Hampton, and she said, "I sold that house," or words to that effect. And I said, "Okay, that's fine." Then she said, "It's haunted." And I said, whoa, can you even sell a house that's haunted? And she did, and then there were adventures involving the haunting of that house. Really kind of domestic stuff, nothing to bring in really TV news or anything. But by the time I got out of the car a couple of minutes later, I had the title of a new book I told that to my friend in publishing, and she said, "All right, put your first book to the side and write this thing called Ghost Hampton." And I said, "Well, you don't know. Do you know what it's about?" You can't know what it's about. Even I don't know what it's about. She said, "Just do it." So that was kind of encouraging. Ghost Hampton is written for adults and young adults, particularly women, because they read books. So it would be foolish not to. But my operating theory is they might like to know about a roguish man who's trying to reinvent himself or is being reinvented by powers beyond his control. I have a secret mission in Ghost Hampton, by the way, which is it's a trilogy of books. All three books are really about man's inhumanity to man. And each book, including the first, Ghost Hampton, has a heinous crime in the background that people talking in the present day, characters interacting, don't really know about or care about, but it's what causes things like the haunting of the house in Ghost Hampton in that story. But in each case, when our hero encounters the underworld, it's because of some heinous crime from the past.
Scan the QR code here to purchase Ken McGorry's novel, Ghost Hampton, today. Today I am joined by KJ Michike, author of The Guest Book. Let's dive into the novel, The Guest Book, by KJ Michike.
I am KJ Michike. I write contemporary rom-com and women's fiction. And The Guest Book is a story about a destination wedding that gets interrupted or canceled, really, by a hurricane. And so as a result, the overzealous maid of honor and the anti-hero best man get together and decide to plan a surprise wedding for the bride and groom. Hijinks ensue. It's very romantic and crazy and a lot of fun. So The Guest Book is technically the sequel to The Book Proposal. The Book Proposal was my debut novel, and I had so much fun writing these side characters. And I realized that they really deserved a book of their own, particularly the crazy mother-in-law and all the silly side characters were just working so beautifully together, and readers really wanted more of them. And while the book stands alone on its own, I had these two particular characters that stood out in Dom, who's the anti-hero, and in Melly, who's the anti-heroine, and they were the best friends of Colin and Gracie in The Book Proposal. So I said, why not bring them back together for a hilarious romp and see what kind of trouble they could get themselves into. The Guest Book is my first indie pub project, and I wanted to give back to folks who were suffering after the slew of hurricanes that hit the South earlier this year. And as a person who lives in New York, but who also was affected by a hurricane, I had no trouble writing about the inconvenience that a hurricane can cause, because up here in the North, we get inconvenienced by hurricanes all the time. But in 2012, we lost our foundation of our home due to Hurricane Sandy. And so I felt like I could write about a hurricane from the inconvenience standpoint, but I should really use the novel to do something to help folks who are victims of hurricanes. And so with that, 100% of my portion of the proceeds of The Guest Book will be donated to the American Red Cross from now through the end of this year. So while you can definitely buy the book in paperback, the digital copy is also free online if you sign up for my newsletter. So you can do that at kjmichike.net.
Scan the QR code here to purchase KJ Michike's novel, The Guest Book, today.
There's a better way to bring your book to life. At Cloverly Publishing, we specialize in empowering first-time and independent authors. From print to ebooks to audiobooks, we make your vision a reality. Cloverly Publishing, your story, your way.
Today, we're joined by Lois Melbourne, author of Moral Code.
So I'm Lois Melbourne, and I am the author of Moral Code. It's a science fiction novel, and I'm actually kind of a co-author because my husband was my technology inspiration and sounding board through the whole thing. So he gets some credit there too. Moral Code is the story of an artificial intelligence, Ellie, and her creator who are working to save kids. And they don't really realize that that's what they're doing at the beginning. It's just about what, if I could create an ethical AI, what would it be? What would an ethical AI do for me? It would protect kids. The inspiration for Moral Code was a conversation, kind of a long-running conversation about artificial intelligence between my husband and I. And one day we started what if we wrote a book? What if we created an AI? What would it be about? What would the capabilities be? And the conversation turned into a in-depth, all-day dive into telling the story of artificial intelligence that could be an inspiration and not dystopian. Moral Code was written for people that are interested in artificial intelligence, interested in the growth of AI, what its possibilities are, but people with a heart that want to explore what the possibilities would be with AI in our world, but not having it destroy the world. I found a really big audience for women interested in STEM or women in STEM, really relate to the female characters and the messaging. All of the proceeds for Moral Code go to two different organizations, PreventChildAbuse.org and Thorn. And these two organizations are designed specifically to protect kids and prevent abuse and child trafficking. So it's an important pursuit, and we wanted to make sure that since that's a theme within Moral Code, that we were giving back to the community that is working right now in reality for the purpose of protecting kids.
Scan the QR code here to purchase Lois Melbourne's novel, Moral Code, today.
There's a better way to bring your book to life. At Cloverly Publishing, we specialize in empowering first-time and independent authors. From print to ebooks to audiobooks, we make your vision a reality. Cloverly Publishing, your story, your way. Are you ready to bring your book to life? At Cloverly Publishing, we make it easy to turn your vision into reality. Whether it's print, ebooks, or audiobooks, our high-end specialty publishing houses are here to guide you every step of the way. We're the trusted partner for first-time and independent authors, giving you full control of the entire process while working side by side with our literary assistants. Best of all, you retain 100% ownership of your book and all content created on your behalf. Your story deserves to be told. Let's make it happen.
The preceding was a presentation sponsored by Cloverly Academy.